This diagram shows a grim historical peak. At its height, El Salvador suffered 104 lost lives for every 100,000 people, a violent crime rate that dwarfed global baselines and plunged the entire nation into daily chaos. MS-13 and Barrio 18 functioned as an occupying army in these neighborhoods. They extorted local businesses, enforced rigid curfews, and held absolute control over public life. In March 2022, President Nayib Bukele initiated a radical pivot. He declared a sweeping state of exception, a legal mechanism that temporarily suspended standard constitutional rights, allowing the military and police to hunt down gang members without restraint. This visual breaks down the sheer volume of that crackdown. Over a span of just 16 months, security forces arrested more than 70,000 individuals. That equates to roughly 2% of El Salvador's entire adult population. Pulling tens of thousands of people off the streets overnight created an immediate, terrifying logistical crisis. The state suddenly needed a secure way to process, transport, and hold an entire captured army. Standard prisons lacked the capacity to secure a captured army of this size. The state had to engineer a new type of infrastructure designed for total, permanent containment. The solution was CECOT, the Terrorism Confinement Center. Spanning 410 acres in an isolated region, this massive fortress has a capacity of 40,000 inmates. To prevent any external tampering, it operates on a completely independent electrical and sewage system. The schematic maps out the exterior defenses. Heavy concrete walls are crowned with a 15,000-volt electric fence. Jammers project a 2-kilometer digital blackout zone. At ground level, loose gravel between walls acts as an acoustic alarm. Footsteps instantly alert the 19 watchtowers. These overlapping layers of concrete, electricity, and silence work together to achieve total systemic isolation. Every physical, digital, and communication tie to the outside world is permanently severed the moment an inmate walks through the gates. Inside the modules, the extreme nature of this facility becomes immediately clear. Up to 150 men are packed into a single cell. Each inmate is left with barely half a square meter of personal space, forced to share tight metal bunks stacked 4 levels high. The daily environment is engineered for severe deprivation. There are no mattresses and no pillows. The cells lack running water, forcing prisoners to rely on a single shared barrel for drinking. And for up to 80 men, there are exactly 2 open toilets. The psychological pressure compounds the physical discomfort. Authorities intentionally mix the populations, forcing sworn rivals from MS-13 and Barrio 18 into inescapable proximity. They live side by side under intense floodlights that remain turned on 24 hours a day. If this tension boils over, guards deploy the ultimate disciplinary tool, the isolation block. These are pitch-black concrete cells, completely sealed off from the main modules. Inmates sent here lose all sense of time and external sensory input for weeks. This extreme methodology exists because of the specific threat profile housed within. Many of these men are high-ranking enforcers, individuals like the gang leader known as Psycho, who freely admits to ending the lives of over 50 people during his decades on the street. CECOT rejects every principle of modern penal theory. There are no courtyards, no workshops, and no paths to parole. It is an architecture of pure consequence, built exclusively to punish and warehouse its population until the end of their lives. This line chart visualizes the immediate aftermath of the government strategy. Following the mass incarcerations, the national murder rate crashed from that terrifying peak of 104 down to a historic 2.4 lives lost per 100,000 people. For the average Salvadoran, the statistics translate to a tangible, everyday reality. Citizens are finally reclaiming their neighborhoods, local businesses operate without the fear of extortion, and peace has returned to public spaces that were once war zones. This rapid drop in violence carries a heavy collateral cost. The state of exception suspended due process, and in the rush to meet arrest quotas, security forces swept up innocent people with no gang affiliations. For the families of the wrongfully imprisoned, the reality is agonizing. Because of CECOT's strict no-contact policy, these families are left completely in the dark. They have no way to locate their missing loved ones, no way to plead their case, and no way to even verify if they are still alive. El Salvador eliminated a massive terror threat and became one of the safest countries in the hemisphere. But the price was the indefinite suspension of civil liberties and the silent burial of innocent lives within concrete walls. The question now is whether the safety of millions justifies a system with absolutely zero room for mercy.